Hello, everyone. Welcome. It's been a while, sort of. We're going to go over a lot of things today. But first, Hugo is going to be doing the intro and just going over a recap of the year so far.
Hi everybody, great to see you all. Thanks for joining. It's as I say, as Neo said, lots to cover today. So I'm not going to talk too long, so I can get the team to sort of update everyone on all our progress. But we're now halfway through 2024. It has been a very positive start to the year, and we want to ensure that we capitalise on the momentum as we head into the second half of the year. The team is going to take us through the progress on a both product level, partnership level, and also, of course, marketing as well. And we're attending more and more events. We've been on a number of events this half of the year, and there are going to be many more to come as well in different regions. So watch this space for more information on that. In terms of on a macro level, we're going to be looking at ways to increase our sort of our story in terms of how compelling it is and how clear it is, to help newcomers to understand what makes Minima special and why they should explore Minima and get involved. Key part of that is going to be us. We're going to be updating our tokenomics, and this will be happening on two levels. Firstly, on sort of the protocol level, just explaining sort of utility that Minima provides, as well as sort of an element of the deflationary nature of the burn as well. We'll be going through more details with the team in terms of real world use cases, and that we're now and also the increased functionality and ease of use of Minima and mini dApps as well. Jazz will be taking us through that later. And secondly, we're also looking at the sort of the token unlock schedule and the potential to look up more coins ahead of a native listing. We're in active discussion with a number of exchanges now, and we still have Q3 as our target for this. If this changes, then we'll let everyone know, but we're still on track for a Q3 listing at this stage. So we'll let everyone know on that one. We're also going to be looking at in more detail over the coming weeks and months about our value proposition in comparison to other layer ones in the market. If, for example, what's our value proposition as a layer one for deep in projects versus others? The key advantage really we have here is that while other deep in layer ones connect devices to a blockchain, with Minima, every device becomes part of the blockchain. And this gives devices the unique ability to generate tokens directly on device and delivers a new level of data attestation. We're sort of talking more and more about verifiable infrastructure because Minima becomes, Minima means that every device can be part of that chain. We're looking at different ways to set ourselves apart to help others understand where we fit in, and also to encourage other projects to start building on Minima as well. And we'll have more details to that to come as well. I think in many ways, what we've learned in even more than in traditional markets, in the crypto market, in the blockchain market, timing is everything. As we've seen, sort of this first half of the year has been sort of critical in terms of sort of getting the right message out at the right time. And so, what we're looking now to do is to make sure that our news and our partnership announcements are come out at exactly the right time. So we might be holding back on some things to make sure that the market is listening. And I think that's something that has proven successful to date, and we'll be making sure that we continue that way of working. We are, we'll be investing in comms and outreach at that point. We've been working with some really good KOLs up and this first half of the year, and we're looking to expand that reach as well, both in terms of the channels, so looking not just on Twitter but on YouTube, and also into different regions as well. So Q3 and Q4 will be a big push into the Asian market for us as well. And likewise, the side events that have been that we've done this year, I'm a big believer in quality over quantity, and side events have a much better ROI for us in terms of the type of people we get to talk to, the type of conversations we have, the projects that come and see us, and the discussions we have. So those will be a big part of our plans moving forward. And so, at this stage, I'm going to hand over to the team to give us more detail on specific areas we've been working on, and then we come back for any questions at the end. So great to see you all, and let me hand over now to, I think, Luke. Is that right?
Yeah. Hello everyone. 1 second. Cool. Did everyone hear me okay? Yep. Wonderful. So yes, as Hugo sort of just touched on, as many of you will have recognised, the market has not been flying at the moment, and attention has not necessarily been on deep in space. So with that in mind, we are sort of currently in something of a strategic pause with the marketing to make sure that we post our best good news when it will make an impact. As to do it right now is sort of howling in the wind. It's not a good use. It's wasteful. We do know, however, that Peak's launch is very soon. They are considered to sort of be our big main competitor. I don't know that we all necessarily agree with that, but that's what the market says. And so we know that with the attention that they get on them, that will bring overall attention back to deep in space. So we are effectively keeping our powder dry and being ready for that. But what we have been doing in this time is building up a strong backlog of announcements, including research papers, articles, deep dives, and we've also got advertising lined up. And we are working with an additional marketing partner who we're working together with a view to sort of springboarding into Asia later this year. So there's a lot going on in the background, even though out perhaps are quiet. I'm sure, for example, that you've all enjoyed learning about our McLaren and Ferrari Motorsport antics with Influx, which dropped recently. If you haven't already seen the videos about that, you could find them on our YouTube, which is youtube.com/Minima Global. It's a good example of the marketing content we're aiming to deliver across all of our use cases, telling a good story about what we're doing in a relatable way, whilst drawing attention to what a particular piece of work can lead on to more broadly for sort of the average consumer. This is really important as many retail buyers in crypto are used to short-term plays, quick deliveries, and we're playing a really different game here at Minima. We're working with Web2 legacy businesses to bring them and their massive customer bases into Web3. And this is a long-term, multi-year project, and we really need to bring people along with us on that journey. On that topic, I'm happy to be able to introduce you to Conrad Young. You can see on screen with us. He's co-founding of our marketing partner, Athena Labs, and he's here to take you through the work we've been doing together so far this year. So with that, Conrad, over to you.
Awesome. Can you guys hear me okay? Brilliant. All right. Hello, Minima community. It's great to finally speak to you all. I know we've kind of been a faceless shadow in the background working on everything in the kind of the nether regions of Minima's marketing, but it's great to finally kind of present to you guys and show you some of what we've been working on, some of the results we've seen, and also some of our plans for the future. So if you don't mind, I'm going to take you through a very short presentation. If I can share my screen. Let's see. Can you guys see that okay? Yep. I can't see if you're thumbsing up, so if you can see it, just tell me yeah.
Yeah, it's loading for me.
It's good.
Brilliant. Okay, so guys, a little introduction to who we are. So Athena Labs is a Web3 marketing agency with a unique formula and background. We come from the world of marketing for tech startups and AI and Web3, of course, but we also uniquely spent a lot of our time in politics, helping out on election campaigns, presidents, prime ministers, and public figures. Within that, we understood how to essentially navigate large audiences and how to convince them to do a certain action. So whether it's voting for a party, electing someone, buying a product, or indeed investing in something, that's kind of the background to us. We combine these skill sets and experience with a team of Web3 native degens and non-degens who live and breathe crypto. and that's the thing we bring forwards into all our work. As you can see here, these are just a few faces of the people you don't really see that much on these calls, but this is the team that's working on Minima from our side currently. There's my little face next to Ivan, our PR guy on Minima, Charlie, the other co-founder, Sina, who's you might see in the podcast that we're going to talk about slightly later, and then Glenn, Julie, and Sarah in a slightly more minor role. So, little overview of the last 6 months in snippets. So, I'm not going to go into great detail, guys. Yeah.
Sorry, I'm just stopping you. Does this stream appear for other people or not? Because I don't see it. Raf doesn't see it.
I don't
It
see it
appears
at
to
the
me.
moment.
Okay.
I can see it.
It appears for you. Okay, that's
Yeah.
weird. Sorry, can I ask you to restart the stream, or
Yeah.
sometimes
so
it bugs out? Sorry, Conrad.
That's all good. Let me reshare my screen.
Neo!
Yes.
You guys see now?
Okay, well, still bugged for me. It's fine. Go on.
Okay.
No,
cool.
no, I can't see it. No, Neo's ruined it for everybody. No, you've ruined it for everybody. It's not happening now.
It's Discord. It's not me. Come on.
Okay. Well,
Some people can't see it. Whatever.
I'll walk through the other slides and talk about them in a way that means you don't have to see the visuals. But essentially, you guys know very well about all the big announcements that have come up across the last 6 months, including scaling from Decentraday to our partnerships with companies like Ycrypt, LTA Labs, OPP, culminating in things like the McLaren partnership of recent months. Obviously, We Are Deepin as well was a brand launch that happened during the same time with events and whatnot around the world. We'll go into a little bit about that, but these are things you know very well already. This would be a PR slide I would show you, but you can't see it. But essentially, part of the work we do for you guys is to get you as much awareness and an impact out there in the world of crypto PR. The people who read the CoinDesks and Cointelegraphs of the world, who want to know what's happening day to day, how Minima is moving the world of Deepin and the world of crypto, indeed, at the same time. These numbers will now have to be updated as per our latest coverage that just came out, but we've now got over 40 pieces of coverage in some of the top tier crypto outlets in the world, an audience of over 12 million engagements and estimated views to boot. For all those who can't see my screen, by the way, I'm happy to share this deck with you guys afterwards so you can have a little read through. In terms of social media stats, the last 6 months we did very, very well compared with the previous months. We got over 1 million impressions, which is 217% more than the previous 6 months before it. Profile visits, new followers up, replies up, almost 8,000 followers. This was taken two weeks ago as a snapshot. 12,000 likes and whatnot. These are all numbers that are growing. And this is the idea that we want to build engagement and keep the ball rolling and make sure that Minima's front-facing profiles are getting the most traction and most engagement, and things are all working very well. The automotive campaign I might talk about, for those who can't see on my screen, some lovely photos, which again, you'll be able to see in the deck afterwards. But I'm sure you guys, the community, know very well the kind of ins and outs of what we're doing with McLaren supercars at these races. Within that, we created for you guys a video based on the racetrack at Donington near Birmingham. That's, I believe, now over 80,000 views on Twitter, which is, I think, the most viewed piece of content you guys ever had. I think Luke told us that the other day. Hopefully still true, but we want to build on that. So we then released another video based off what was happening at Le Mans itself, and we're also recording in other places and going to be releasing a very, very exciting piece of content soon, which we can't wait to share with you guys, but won't mention that just yet. As part of this campaign, display ads were sent out on media networks. I'll share this afterwards so you guys can see the visuals. Now to talk very kind of briefly about what We Are Deepin is. So I'm sure you guys have already seen some of this content on Minima's Twitter feed, but we've got a separate account and separate brand called We Are Deepin, which is trying to essentially make Minima synonymous with Deepin, the narrative, the community around it, the projects involved. This is how we're doing it. Essentially, international events, the best, highest quality Deepin podcast in the world, Telegram and Twitter communities, and targeted advertising. We're building the world's largest community of Deepin projects and Deepin evangelists. We're building around Minima to make Minima synonymous with Deepin. So what are our objectives? Just going over them again: grow the brand, leverage off hype of other Deepin projects and build network effects, and also organize larger and larger events to cement Minima as the thought leader in this exciting narrative, which we all love. Within that, we're building social content that's going out from our events, that's being posted on Twitter. But we're also running events like the one we had in Dubai a few months ago, the one in London last month, which I think some of you came to, and many more exciting ones happening all around the world in the coming months as well. Some snapshots here for those who can see my screen from that event. But also the kind of core of this brand is going to be a podcast, which we've actually just released this week. It's been a bit of a quiet launch. We're just kind of posting things out there on the different channels, but you're going to see more and more of it as the clips get shared around on Twitter organically and through ads. Essentially, we're building a network of advertising that's going to have the whole world looking at Minima through the perspective of Deepin and in partnership with other projects as well. So we really want to onboard all of the people who are interested in Minima, who are already in these other communities around the place, be they Nasana, Streamer, etc. People who already love Deepin, who could also love us, but just don't know about us yet. And this is the best way of bringing that forwards to them, apart from partnerships, which we're also working on through Adam. Moving forwards, just very, very quickly, our ongoing objectives to grow the brand, to capture the Deepin market, and to expand on these amazing real-world use cases in the B2B space that you're seeing. How we're doing that: pioneering content, the best content you've ever seen going out in video and copy format, targeted distribution of the clips from those things, impactful awareness through tier 1 crypto headline hits, brand building by growing the community and hosting amazing events around the world, and then, of course, strategic flexibility to make sure we can remain lean and be ready for anything the market brings to us. Awesome. Thank you, guys. That's essentially the crux of the deck, but very happy to share the document with you guys afterwards. Thanks.
Thank you, Conrad.
Thanks, Conrad.
I didn't see the presentation, but as always, amazing presentation. So now onwards to Adam, who just joined us.
Great. Thank you very much, Neo. And hello, everybody listening to the stage. So, we've mentioned it in this call earlier, and obviously you've seen the news, that we've made great progress into embedding Minima onto devices in motorsport race cars. So this has been something that we've worked on now for a number of years, and we've now got exciting evidence that we can do it at race speeds. So Minima is now functioning to hash data in real time based on data generated by the car, and we can mint and send tokens in real time, where the tokens are triggered by events generated during the race. So in this particular case, we've been working with Influx, and Influx Technologies have been working on a data recorder that is extremely well built and makes sure that we don't lose any of the data points. So one of the challenges with motorsports in particular is making sure that there's no loss in signal, there's no corruption of the data, and that's their platform that they've been working on. And we have successfully incorporated Minima to run over and above that underlaying hardware, so that we can create these tokens on the fly. And we've been very lucky to work with some excellent race teams. The prominent one is Race Lab, and they have McLaren GT3 and GT4 that they race in the British GT Championships. And they have been extremely good to work with, and they are very supportive of what we're trying to do. And the key for all of this is to demonstrate that Minima has real world value, and the use cases are threefold. One for the mechanics and the race engineers, one for the event organizers to make sure that everybody in the race adheres to the regulations and the rules, and that it's as fair and as equal as possible. And the third category, and possibly the most interesting from Minima's perspective, is generation of tokens for fans. And as we have seen in the events that we have attended, there is incredible interest from fans to understand everything that they can about the car and compare statistics, compare driver habits, and then even imagine themselves racing in these events. And so being able to generate these tokens by the car is certainly a first in a lightweight blockchain capabilities. So we're continuing this collaboration. There are another events through July and August. We hopefully will have a very exciting announcement to make related to an event at the end of the year. And we are working both on a ruggedized mini DAP and interface and display together with a product. So this will continue, and we're happy with the support so far. And I think Luke can even add a little bit more about some of the tokens that we'll be generating on these events. So thank you for support, and look forward to sharing even more news during the year.
Thanks, Ad.
Thank you, Adam. So to finish off with the tech update from Jasmine's side. Thank you, Jasmine.
Thanks, Neo. Gosh, we're cramming in a lot today, aren't we? So we've had our heads down for the last 6 months. We haven't had a release since December, but we're very close. We're finalising all the testing. So just to run through some of the bits and pieces that are going to be in the next release. One of the biggest parts is going to be a new type of node, which is a mega node. And this serves a similar function to archive nodes in that it stores all of the coins from the history of the chain. But what's very exciting is that archive resyncs are now a matter of minutes rather than hours. So those of you who have resynced, which I'm sure is everyone here, knows that it does take a while with archive nodes, and especially if you're running a node on a phone. So now we have a new quick sync method, and within a few minutes you will be in sync with the chain. You can also do a seed restore or a backup restore, and you'll just need the IP address of a mega node, and it's all done within a matter of seconds, if not minutes. So the mega node enables quick sync. It also enables us to, you to have a public facing wallet. So you can host a wallet for your friends and family. They can log in to your node. It gives them one Minima address that they can receive native Minima to, or any kind of custom tokens on Minima. So that's also coming with this release. The mega node is also an important part of our exchange integration. So that's a big piece for this release. And we've also got various new mini dApps. So we'll have the safe, where you can lock away some of your coins in a new seed phrase, which is separate to your core node. And we will have the long-awaited ETH wallet and Miniswap. And just to say that ETH wallet and Miniswap are separate applications. So we've seen some of the testers that they kind of think that they are one and the same. They are connected, but they are separate applications. And we've got various other minor updates, icons to the Mini Hub, and in Chatter, so a few little facelifts as well. So if I could just share my screen, see if this works for everyone.
Try low frame rate. I bet that was why. Like 30 frames per second live.
Okay. Can you see my Mini Hub? Perfect. Okay, so just quickly show you, this is the safe. Very simple app. You create a new safe, you can choose which token you want to lock away, the amount, generate a new seed phrase, and then you just create a new safe. And then to unlock it, you will obviously need the same seed phrase, so obviously remember to write that down. And yeah, very simple app. It also means that if you lose access to your main node, or your main node is compromised, then any funds that you've put away in a safe can be restored separately and are independent to your main node. So that allows you to have your... Yeah, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say that this is a really, really cool feature that I wish we had implemented instead of locking your entire node, because when you lock your node, you can't do anything. You can't send any coins to the background. You always have to type in your password and everything. And the way I like to think about this safe is that you've got your current account and your saving and your current account and your coins in Minima that you can muck about with, and you can send shout out messages and do small things and blah, blah, blah. And then you can send all your valuables to your safe, which uses its own, it's like a separate account with a separate private key and everything. And that's where you have your savings account. And that, I think, is a much better way of thinking about this than locking up the whole of that. I wish I hadn't added the locking of the node now. And this is a much better way of doing it. So this is where you will secure your coins, and then you don't have to worry about, if you've got 1% of your coins in current, if it gets hacked, all right, you lose 1% of your coins, big deal. But it just means that everything works. You can have your applications in write mode without worrying about it. You can use shout out, you can use the wallet, you can just do quick transfers. So it's really, really nice. Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. So that's the safe. And then just to quickly touch on quick sync here. So this is the new security. We've left the legacy options for restoring via archive nodes, but we now have a new restore node option. And within here, there's 3 options. So you'll have quick sync, which is equivalent to a chain resync at the moment. So you just put in the IP address of a mega node, and you will instantly resync to the latest block. You can then import a seed phrase, so same as a seed resync that you do with an archive node. Again, just put in the IP address, your seed phrase, and off you go. And then you can also import a backup. And the nice thing about importing a backup is that it doesn't matter how old your backup is. So in the past, without quick sync, you had to have a recent backup so that you could catch up with the chain. And it doesn't matter how old this backup is, you'll be able to restore it using quick sync.
Shall I just mention a little bit about this Mega MMR? All right, I'll just because there's all of this tech has popped out of what we're doing to integrate with the exchanges. Yeah, so this is all the tech that we needed to write so that the exchanges could give public wallets to millions of users. And what we've basically done is we've come up with a system now where Minima runs on an MMR, runs on this sort of hash tree thing. And now we've come up with a way that a node can keep all the unspent coins. So it doesn't keep the spent coins, but it does keep all the unspent coins in one big hash tree. And that means that you have coin proofs for everything. It's secure. You don't have to give me your private keys. Public keys is what you give me. And then I give you all the proofs for the public keys, which you can then sign and send. And this is basically what the exchanges use when they want to give someone an account. They say, hey, look, this is his address. Give me his coins. Here are his coins. I want to make a transaction. And it does all that for you. But what is really nice about it, as Jazz has been mentioning, is that it's really fast, like 5 seconds. I mean, it takes, maybe 30 seconds for you to turn your machine off and turn it back on. But instead of the nightmare that was the resync using the raw.dat file, now you can resync in 5 seconds. Now you can use an old backup. It saves any old backup. So that's really cool. And one of the features that is really nice about it is that it doesn't really grow in size. And what I mean by that is that it only stores the UTXO set. It only stores the unspent transaction outputs. And so when you look at the raw.dat file, that grows. It doesn't grow by a lot. Currently, it's growing by about 0.8 of a megabyte a day. So we're still on a very low, but that does keep a record of all of the coins that are made, even the ones that are spent now and you don't actually need in the future. Whereas the Mega MMR only stores the unspent transaction outputs, which is interesting because what you find is that sometimes it gets smaller. Because sometimes I might consolidate 10 coins and make 1 coin, which suddenly means that there's less coins in the Mega MMR. And in fact, the size of the Mega MMR is a function of transactions per second. Doesn't matter how long, it could run for 1 million years. What matters is how many, it's a function of how many unspent coins there are, but you find that is also dependent on the number of transactions per second. And so if there's a constant amount of transactions going on, the size of the Mega MMR is constant. Yeah, which is really nice. And it's much smaller. So currently the Mega MMR for the entire network is about 140 megabytes, whereas the raw.dat is about 380 megabytes and growing. So anybody can run one of these. As Jazz has mentioned, in our effort to, decentralization, instead of giving Coinbase, we're trying to integrate into Coinbase, we're trying to integrate into the exchanges. And what we've actually done is, I'm not sure if Jazz can show you, but we've done a public version of Coinbase that everybody that runs Minima can now enable and run. And so all of you that run a node on a server can now say, well, look, I'm going to open my public site, and then it just gives a wallet. Anybody can log in with a special seed. It's non-custodial. None of the information is stored on the server, and so it's really meant to decentralize the trust model. Yeah, there is some trust involved because the person's running the server could be dodged, but if it's your family or if it's your friends or if you're a person and you trust them, then it's better than Coinbase because you can't hack one site and hack everybody. Yeah, there's thousands of people running it. You need to hack thousands of websites to get in. So it's really enabled a lot of technology, and all of this has popped out of the exchange integration. And most of this, I mean, when you start writing things, you never know how these things are going to turn out. And it's been it's been really interesting to see what has actually popped out of this. And hopefully you will find running your own little Coinbase websites and letting people log in, etc. It is cool. It's a really cool piece of tech. It should mean that none of you get lost anymore. Yeah, we're bringing you all back. We're saving you all. Oh, there you go. Yeah, yes. Have you got that?
There we go.
So every single node now gets it. Yeah.
Yeah. No, exactly. It's just enabled public MDS on my node, and here you get access to Block Explorer and simple wallet.
Refresh.
There we go. So, yeah. Do you want to walk them through it?
No, well, yeah. So you can generate a key. Just log in. That's fine. Yeah, generate a key. You can generate something. There's your key, and you can remember it. Then you log in, and then you have your balance, your send, and your receive. Very, very simple. It's like any other NUP wallet. It works like any other wallet, and this is the technology that people will need to use if they want to integrate it into exchanges. So it's like getting to that stage has meant that we've had to build loads and loads of stuff to get there. So it's really nice. And Elias has done a wonderful job with the look and feel. Yeah, he's good with the front ends. They look good. I'm happy with that.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, and then final thing from me is that we're very excited to release something which has been highly anticipated, and we've had lots of requests for people to have a developer-specific site where you can access resources, tutorials, and also share ideas. So that is now live. We have build.minima.global. And on here, you can access several tutorials, how to write a mini dApp, very simple hello world, how to create a basic wallet, and then a slightly more advanced one. We have our video tutorials from Paddy, and lots of additional resources here. And we also have a separate ideas hub where you can submit your own ideas, and you can upvote other people's ideas. And if you would like to join a particular idea, you can get in contact with the owner, and so you can choose to join or fund a specific idea. And we also then have a leaderboard. So this is just the start. We are going to be working on this continuously, improving it, upgrading it. So we are looking forward to seeing how it's used and what ideas come through. And we'll, as I said, carry on building it and just improve our developer experience.
Which is so important because we're not going to be the ones that write the killer dApp. I mean, fingers crossed we are. But the truth is that our job is to provide you with the correct tools for you to be able to do whatever it is you want to do on Minima. This is what we're continually working on, polishing, sharpening, etc., etc. This is a really important tool that allows all the developers to now, train 1,000 developers to write 1,000 dApps is much better than trying to write 1,000 apps. Yeah, so this is an important piece of tech as well. More tools for you to write great dApps.
100%. And that's all from me. So thanks, Neo.
Great. Thank you, Jasmine. Before we go through the stage questions, I'm just going to go through the agenda quickly because I think we missed some things. Right. Sorry, Adam. Can I request your assistance? So because we told the community we were going to talk about this, we might as well bring it up. But there was the hackathon point and the OPP update. I think we didn't mention.
Yes. Okay. Happy to give an update. So the OPP.
Volume, mate.
Okay.
Can't hear you very well, Adam.
Can you hear me now?
It's a little better.
Yeah. Better. Okay. OPP is the online payment platform, which is a part of Worldline's payment and settlement offer, and we have started a collaboration with them. We announced that before the summer, and they will be useful as we move forward with our collaboration for online payments. So we are in the final stages of contract signing with Zika, and we are then going to start our pilot of tokens for EV payments. So that is ongoing, and we will present this work in their innovation center in Paris in Q3, so just at the end of the summer. So that is ongoing and exciting, and obviously real customers with real problems. And the hackathon that we mentioned is work in progress, and we will be hosting a hackathon event together with our partners. Currently, the first event will be in Sweden and working with one of our auto partners. And these events will be solutions requested by our partners. So it's going to have real value, and we're going to be working with these selected partners and with students and coders from our network. The actual format is yet to be finalized. It may be a hybrid event. We hope that as most of these will be in real life as possible. But again, this is news that will come out in plenty of time to get anybody here in the audience who'd like to join familiar with what's going on. So we'll make these announcements in the community channels, and look forward to getting you guys to start using Minima. As Paddy's saying, we've now got most of the tools in place where we think that these that you are capable of creating the dApps that people are going to start using.
Thank you, Adam. Sorry, I didn't want to put you on the spot, but I just want to make sure we
No,
tried to cover.
to talk about that. Yep.
And Paddy was making me laugh because I could tell he couldn't hear you talk.
Can't hear anything.
So we're gonna go through with the stage questions. So not all of them. What? No, you're after, Paddy. Okay, because I can't control you once you start talking. So you're gonna talk at the end.
All right.
So, sorry. So we're gonna go through a couple stage questions that I picked up that were interesting. Not all of them. And then Paddy will talk. So the first question I have is it's for you, Adam. You don't have to answer it. But it was a question from the Russian community. What recent partnerships have been established that maybe they're not aware of, that you can talk about? And are there any upcoming collaborations that the community can look forward to?
Yep. So just to reiterate, we've worked mainly with the mobility space. So we'll be now, as I mentioned, we're moving forward with Volt, which is our tokenization of payments for EV chargers. That will have a rollout in Europe, and then the motorsport use case is going to lead us into different directions. So the ability to create NFTs around fan engagement is in itself a good use of NFTs. We are looking to also engage e-gamers and people who want to use the data that we're generating. So this is collectively, still partnerships around motorsport and about mobility. Not not to forget that there's going to be a mobility conference, TAS, the Transport as a Service conference, held at the end of September, which we are sponsors for and very much looking forward to attending. And we have continued our work with several DPIN projects, the likes of Wayru and Ycrypt, and this is very exciting. This is the ability to tokenize mobile data. So these are not new partnerships, but we're progressing this with real use cases. So I think I can leave it there.
Okay, thank you, Adam. Right, one for Luke. There was a question which was, what did the McLaren test show at the Spa race, I think?
Yeah, what did it show? It showed that Minima works excellently in a car. That's what it shows. So yeah, I mean, the main thing we were doing there is, I don't know how many of you are aware of Spa as a track. It's one of the longest circuits that are out there. It's also in the middle of the Ardennes forest. There's a lot of trees, there's a lot of terrain. And what we were testing essentially was that not only that the node on the car could generate tokens from the data within the car in real time as the car was going around, but we were also testing that it could be sent up and over the mobile 5G connection on board to my phone in the pits, which it did excellently. So that's what we were demonstrating at that particular test. Now the use cases obviously that can come out of that, as Adam started to touch on, are actually quite vast. I mean, this was just a basic test to prove that it could work. We're following a very iterative process, so the next test will be looking at some other aspect of what we can do with that data, but at its core we've proven that Minima as a technology can work at the edge on a moving vehicle in a very challenging environment, moving at very high speed, so using it at a more average car user speed shouldn't be a problem.
Can I just add that I think what's important to say about that is that cars don't have very powerful computers in them. Yeah, so getting Minima to run on the head unit and getting it to sort of integrate with its systems and being able to read all that stuff is, for cars are one of 1,000 different devices out there that might think, oh, it'd be nice if I could access a blockchain network and send value and tokens and stuff to people. So for me, the really beautiful thing about this is that it shows that Minima's lightness, Minima's leanness actually matters, because now all these manufacturers and all these people and all these other people that we're speaking to are going, so I can actually whack a blockchain in my car and I don't have to run any servers. Like, this is another thing. Normally when you do this and you're running, if you're running your own Ethereum proof of stake chain or you're running whatever, that requires a lot of effort on your part. Whereas in this scenario, you don't have to do anything. You just install the software and there it goes and it's running a blockchain system. And, the machine to machine economy is, well, what, 1 billion times bigger than the person-to-person economy in terms of how many people there are out there who might want access to this when these machines start paying each other, when the car starts paying for fuel, when the car starts paying other cars with the tokens that it didn't need to spend at the end of the month, et cetera, et cetera. So getting it to run the car was cool because it showed that we could cram this technology into a really limited device. And that really excites them, and that excites me, and it should, as it excites Hugo, who's the one who pushes for this, business integration, because it's, there are 1 billion more, Vodafone enables 5 billion devices a year. That's the population of Earth. If they get a whiff of this and go, actually, I quite like this, I think I'm going to put it in more devices, then, that's overnight. Your entire network explodes, and suddenly everybody, if all the machines are using it, then you're going to have to interface with the machines, which means that you're going to have to use it. And so this overflows and seeps into everything. So not something that any other blockchain has done. Yeah, can't get a Bitcoin node running on a McLaren, I can assure you. So really cool.
Indeed.
Sorry, Neil, I'd also like to just quickly add, just seen somebody mention it in the comments here, and I've seen it elsewhere on our socials. People aren't necessarily understanding why motorsport, of all things. And I just wanted to sort of make clear here, the reason for motorsport is it's a well-proven technological development track for new technology in automotive in general. There's a lot of technology in the cars that you drive in today whose life started in motorsport. So that's the why. What we can do in motorsport today can filter down into your car in the near future. Hope that makes sense.
Yep. All right. Thank you. Sorry, before I move on to the next question, I don't know if we're allowed to bring some questions up, so I'm just going to ask Jasmine to look at her message or look at the document. If you could, please. And aside from that, the next question is for Hugo from Quantum Cat, and it is, when will the Minima Global DAO organization be established?
So I know that in our timeline that was due for Q2. We have been very busy on lots of other things, as you'll have heard in this community call. So we'll be making an announcement about that in Q3.
Thank you. Okay.
Yeah,
another one.
Just just to touch on those questions. So the Light wallet is the public wallet that I showed you earlier, and this next release we're hoping will be out in the next week or so.
Okay, cool. Next question again for you, Hugo. Sorry, from Jonas. What's the count of the Minima team, and are you planning to expand it?
So, I mean, the current sort of core team is 14 people. I mean, I have to say, we've got a really strong team now. All people firing all cylinders, experts in their own different areas, and we are expanding our dev team with some great devs and some coming back to us, which we're very excited about. But what we're going to be doing is making sure that we keep our headcount controlled, especially with sort of cash flow in mind. But what we're also doing now as well, on top of the sort of a very sort of good, strong core team, that we're now working with sort of very sort of strong partners as well. One of whom being Conrad, who you've met just now, and other ones as well, both on the sort of partnership side, on the KOL side, and sort of growth side. Having been in this business now for 5.5 years, you learn to spot people who are going to be really helpful to you, people who aren't going to be helpful to you, and I feel like we're now in a good place where we have a very strong team both internally and externally to help us sort of grow Minima in the correct way, basically.
Okay, thank you, Hugo. And last question is for you, Patty, and then you can start ranting, and I will not interrupt you until the time is up. Right? So Leonid asked, is it possible to create an email, a decentralized email, based on the Minima blockchain?
Yes, it is possible to do that. Obviously, you can use the layer 1 to transmit whatever you want. Yeah, the thing that the layer 1 gives us is this global reach. Everybody on the network gets all of the messages, and importantly, it's censorship resistance. But the thing is that censorship resistance is not free. Yeah, people expect email to be free. People expect email to be quick. If you want to start sending messages, encrypted messages, so no one can read them except the person that you sent them to, you could easily send them over the blockchain. Yeah, we could come up with a version of Max Solo that was pure layer 1. But that is going to cost. This can't be free. And that's fine, yeah, because if it doesn't cost, then how can it be giving us something that we didn't already have? So, yes, it's possible to basically do anything. But I think what a lot of people misunderstand about these blockchains is that, the technology that you are using is really good for one thing. And if you're not going to use it for that one thing, then you shouldn't be using it for that. So I would say yes, but I would say that it would be slow, clunky, and expensive. But that might not matter. You might think that's fine. I don't care. I'm up for spending 10p a message or whatever it is that's going to cost you to send a message on the network, as long as I know that they're going to get it wherever they are in the world and nobody can stop you getting it. That is a very powerful piece of technology, and I can see why people would want that. But it wouldn't, and you could make it look like email. You could make it look like Outlook, and it could do all of that. But yeah, there would be a cost involved if you did it over layer 1. I think Maxima is really the better way of doing it. Yeah, I think Maxima with Max Solo and our upcoming Max Chat application, which is a multi-person version of Max Solo, again, censorship resistance and blah 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 and all of that. It's not as convenient as simply being able to publish something on the network and forget, fire and forget, which is what you get when you use layer 1. But for 99% of the messaging, you can get the same results using Maxima. So that is probably where I would go with that, rather than trying to do it on layer one. So if by Minima you mean Minima, Maxima, mini dApps, absolutely. Which of those stacks you would use for which purpose? You might be able to get 100% of what you want by doing 99% of it on Maxima and 1% of it, in case you absolutely have to critically send him a message and your max connection has gone down. So I'll just do it on chain, So yeah, I would say yes to that, but with the caveat that this tech has a price, it has a cost. So very interesting. So I'll just do a very quick rant now about where I think we are, on a technical level. This next release is really big for us. Yeah, lots of little buglets here and there, small things here and there that we've sort of fixed up. The mini hub is, looking really nice now. The applications are being polished. I know we haven't mentioned Mini Swap and ETH Wallet, and they are really nice apps that really show the power of the mini dApp system. Yeah, which is this thing that only Minima does. Yeah, and the funny thing is that Minima is the only chain that can do mini dApps. There's no point having a mini dApp if you're going to be using ETH, if you're going to be using MetaMask, because it's totally centralized and you can still be turned off. The point about the mini dApp system is that no one can take your mini dApp away from you. So since you're running a full node, and since you've got the application as a zipped, application, once two people have mini swap, that's it. No one can ever take that away from them. No one can change it without, offering a better version and me choosing to upgrade. And the fact that you can now write mini dApps that actually do other things, that interface with the Ethereum network, that interface with both Minima and Ethereum in this little package, is incredibly powerful. Yeah, our stack is starting to evolve, and I guess what we're trying to do is we're trying to show what is possible. When I look at what Minima can do, when you open your mini hub and you look at all your applications, it's quite a sort of it's a very strange set of applications there. I don't see other blockchains doing what it is that we do on Minima. Now, we don't have our Aave and we don't have our Compound and, we don't have all the, as I like to think of them, we don't have our gambling, which is all these other things that seem to do, all these sort of self-referential auto-staking, we make money from something, blah, blah, blah. And what I would also, I'm not sure how much longevity there is in all of that. And so I like the applications that we do, and I like the fact that they are unique to Minima, and I like the fact that they're frankly censorship resistant, which is the only reason I'm here, which is the only reason Minima exists. And in this next release, the peer-to-peer network is working beautifully now, and the health of Maxima is directly proportional to the health of the Minima node network, and Maxima is working really nicely. I'm always green with all of my clients, and I'm like, great. So in many ways, this is a really big update, and I'm sorry it's taken this long to get us here, but I think you'll find that it's really worth it when we release it. And then I'd like to sort of speak more about a sort of macro crypto level and what's going on at the moment, because a lot of fear out there at the moment. Yeah, everyone's like, oh, price is going down, across the board and everything. And it's so funny, having been here since the beginning, that people still feel this way, that I still have to have these discussions with people. The moment where there was any doubt that crypto was going to take over the entire planet has gone. Yeah, that happened 5 or 6 years ago. There is no question that crypto is going to take over the whole planet. Yeah. And it's so tiny at the moment. The entire space is so infinitesimally small compared to the rest of the world out there, that this is why we get this massive volatility. This is why we get these hot periods and cold periods. You can't even price Apple in Bitcoin yet, the largest, biggest, baddest boy out there. You can't even price the largest company. And it's not that I need to be able to price Apple. Apple's worth 3 trillion, Bitcoin's worth 1.3 trillion, whatever. Yeah. It's not that I need to be able to price Apple. I need to be able to price the sum of everything. Yeah. The prize that we are playing for, the game of coins that we are all here playing is so massive and so big that right now, we're all sort of scrabbling around with each other. And what I think is very interesting is that there's been this real resurgence on the topics of miner centralization. Yeah, lots of chatter about that, especially at the moment, because there's been a lot of miner capitulation. What do I mean by that? They've halved the revenues on Bitcoin, which means that half the miners can't handle it because they're not efficient enough, and so they're getting kicked off the network. And guess who's surviving? The biggest, baddest, the best miners, as is correct. This is what competitions do. Competitions bring in a winner. That's what we're excellent at doing. And so all we're seeing is that bigger miners are getting bigger. And all we're seeing is that the mining is centralizing. And actually, the term that we've come up with for this phenomenon is the decentralization delta. I'm going to give Pete Cheek credit for that. And what I mean by that is that Minima is not only decentralized, but Minima's decentralization delta is the really important one. And when I say the decentralization delta, what I mean is the speed of change in our decentralization. How fast are you moving towards a centralized system? Because the decentralization delta of every other chain is massive. They all start decentralized. They all talk a good game. They're all like, yeah, we're decentralized, and they all centralized. They have a positive decentralization delta. And if you have a positive decentralization delta, then that means you're moving away from your decentralization. Yeah, we're moving towards centralization. There is emergent centralization from your system. The larger any other crypto out there gets, the more centralized they get. We see this. I don't have to explain it to you. I don't have to prove it to you. You know this objectively when you look out there. The larger the Minima network gets, the more decentralized it gets. Now, this is so important, and this is so fundamental, and this is the only thing that should matter from your blockchain, and yet nobody understands this. Yeah, decentralization equals security, and security, frankly, is where your value comes from. Yeah, you want your network to be secure. You want your network never to have a censorship attack. Everything else is a bonus. But you want to be decentralized, and you don't want to move towards centralization. And in that respect, which I agree, I don't think is a mimetic concept that has pervaded enough of the crypto space. NGU, meme coins, cats, where's my monkey, JPEG, etc., etc. These are the things that, frankly, 99% of people care about. But that's okay, because the builders, the ones at the bottom of the stack, they care about this. And they're the ones that eventually realize, well, actually, if I build on this chain, then I do have my decentralization. I don't have to worry. Solana kicking off a miner because he did something they didn't like. That's unacceptable. They're dead to me now. Yeah. And with regards to this, Solana, Ethereum, Bitcoin, all these big boys that are out there, what is the game? What is happening? What do we think is going to happen? What I think is going to happen is you're going to have an L1. You're going to have one chain that we all go, okay, cool. That chain is going to be a POW chain. It cannot be a proof of stake chain. Money must be objective. Money must be a commodity. It cannot be an equity. It cannot be subjective. Yeah, this is what you get when you do proof of stake chain. It's not objective. I can't distinguish two chains when I am faced with them. I have to ask someone and trust them, and they tell me this is the Ethereum chain, not this one. This is a maths thing. Yeah. Objective. Money must be objective. You think China are going to start using Ethereum? You think China are going to start using Solana when they could knock up their own version with the same security? Yeah, because they would just pick 16,000 individuals and say, we can each run one, and here's this. You can do this with a proof of stake chain, but you can't do this with a proof of work chain. So there's going to be an L1, which is going to be a proof of work chain, which is like your base layer, and then everything else is an L2. And this concept of an L2 is very sort of, what is an L2? Is a sidechain an L2? Is Lightning, which is my favorite, L2. Coinbase is an L2. Coinbase is a fantastic L2. And in fact, I realize now, having given out billions and billions of Bitcoins, not billions, but, given out a lot of Bitcoins to all my friends, they've all lost them, all of them, without fail. And if I just give it to them in Coinbase, none of them would have lost it. So people who think that Coinbase is less secure, well, objectively, that's not actually true. Yeah, objectively, no one has yet lost their coins on Coinbase. That doesn't mean it's not a risk. That doesn't mean I'm, ignoring the fact that the US government could put a gun to their head. But I'm saying up until this point, you'd have done better having your coins in Coinbase. Not the techie nerds like me who love all that stuff and who do it, but my mother, my girlfriend, my wife, whatever. They would do much better to use these other L2s. And so now what we have is we have Ethereum pushing this narrative, which I like. I love all the innovation. I've said this before. I'm not here to say that they're rubbish because they're centralized in this. The experimentation that goes on in these chains is fantastic. It's mind-blowing. But what they said is they basically said, okay, look, so I've got my base chain, and then everything's going to be layer 2s off this chain. But what they're doing is they're seeding, they're seeding their own destruction, because what they have now shown us is that it's not that L1 is not where the action takes place. It's always happening on L2, whether that's going to be on Omnia, Lightning, or whether that's going to be on Polygon, the side chain, or whether that's going to be on Starkweb or whatever. And on Bitcoin, now that they're talking about OPCat, this very simple function, it's like 11 lines of code. And it does something very, very simple, yeah? But with this ability, you can now run Starknet. You can now run these, massively complicated, zero knowledge proof, side chains that are connected to the base chain. And so what does that tell you? That tells you that the thesis that you should have this massively bloated 2 terabyte L1 is completely unnecessary. What you want is you want the leanest, meanest, cleanest, most decentralized, most secure layer 1 that you can possibly come up with. And I cannot come up with one that is better at that than Minima. Yeah, I can't, we can transfer the money on the base layer, that's fine. And then all the stuff that we're going to do it on Omnia. All the stuff that we're going to do, you could run a Polygon sidechain off Minima. You could run a Stark Web chain off Minima. And that's actually where things are going to happen. So what you really want is you want your Minima base chain. You want to be able to run your node. You want to know that that's never going to centralize. You want a light, you want a mean, you want a lean, clean layer 1, which is exactly the thesis that Minima proposes. And then you want to do everything else on all the other bits, because you're never going to get billions and billions of people using layer 1. That just doesn't happen. That cannot happen. Yeah, because there's a cost. Yes.
We're slightly ahead of the end of the call, so I'm just going to say, for those who want to leave, they can leave, and you can keep talking. That's all I wanted to say.
All right. So what I'm saying is that I think we've made the right choices. I think all that I see out there reinforces the decisions we have made in making Minima. I think we're still very early. We're still in it's nothing. There's nobody out there doing anything really in the real world space. Frankly, this car thing, cars, blockchain, what's the connection? Blah. It's just, we're all experimenting. We're trying to do things. We're trying to see how we can integrate this technology. We're all learning off each other. And the things that seem to matter, the things that are starting to come to the fore is, decentralization does actually matter. It's not something I can crowbar in later. A centralized system never decentralizes, because centralization is so efficient, because it's so quick. Once you start using a centralized system, you're never going to go back to a decentralized system. And that's why, Minima, 5 transactions per second, UTXO model. I don't have this big database, so I can't do all of these things, but it's decentralized. And the speed of innovation and the technologies that people are coming up with, the way the bridge tech, the BitVM technology, which is completely transposable and we could absolutely use on Minima. These are the things that are like, people are coming up with this stuff, and what from day to day, our perception of what is going to be possible is changing. People are coming up with the technologies that we need to do really, really cool stuff. And I think Minima is excellently placed to be able to use all of this stuff, head held high, hand on heart. Yeah, this is what you want. This is as good as you can get it. Yeah, that battle hasn't actually started yet. We're sort of seeing the big boys flounder. We're sort of seeing some issues appearing. The cracks are starting to show. And I think we have the right tech, the right solution, and that we're offering the right product for the world at large. And I'm very excited to see where this goes in the next 6 months. Thank you.
Thanks, Paddy. And just a final point. I mean, again, as most of you all know, if you've been following and been part of the community for a long time, many years, probably some of you, and we really appreciate that. Paddy and I always come at this from two different lenses. One which is sort of the bottom up community-led one, and one was the top-down enterprise one. But I think that, but what we're seeing, and again, going back to the motorsports one, because it has been quite a big topic, and it was the question of why. Not only does it allow for us to prove that it works at sort of the highest level of automotive, but also further down as well. And again, censorship resistance, there's lots of different words, phrasing of that as well. But again, it's all about, secure data information. So if you can secure that data and make it an immutable record of it, that is absolutely critical for people. So it might not necessarily be that the cars are looking to have a censorship vibe, but what they do want to have, censorship resistant vibe, but they do want to have the ability to know that the data is immutable and can absolutely be checked. That's from the race organizers themselves, from the race, from the teams as well, plus also fans in terms of NFTs being minted on vehicles. I mean, we're definitely moving through this phase. And in the old days, NFTs were monkeys. Now they are actually real results from real life races that are of real value to fans. And so, everything is possible here. And I think that, closing it out in terms of, everything that Paddy's been saying is 100% valid, and it's getting more and more valid in terms of the sort of the attack vectors of centralization. And we've been built with decentralization at our core, and slowly but surely we're now proving that that level of design feature is both valuable and achievable within all sorts of things like cars or EV charging or energy supply production side of things as well. So there's lots of areas there. Plus, also as Jazz has now gone through in detail, our new release is going to have a huge number of functionalities for the bottom up aspect in terms of users as well. So yeah, lots of exciting things, lots of hard work going on in the background. Thank you all for your support as ever. Keep up the support and also just getting the message out to everyone else. You'll be seeing a lot more of us in a lot more different places, talked about by different people in different scenarios as well. So keep up the the talk about Minima, and we look forward to seeing you both in the community and then at our next community call. Thank you.
And can I just say that I'm challenging everyone here to go to build.minima.global and try the Hello World tutorial, because I promise you can do it.
Jazz has done it. You can do it. But
I was
Jazz is
about
good
to
at it.
say,
I can do it, anyone can do it.
I was
Leo,
about to say go to that website.
you
What?
do it.
I
Leo
have
do
done
it.
it. I have
How
done
did
it
you?
a long time ago.
What?
Yeah.
Wow. All right. Okay.
Okay. Well, thank you everyone, and see you next month, hopefully.
Excellent.
Thank you, everyone.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye bye.